Hey everyone, welcome to an episode of The Hum. Today we're going to talk about hiring an agency, learning to trust them, and how to get the most out of your website project. Stay tuned. Alright, welcome everybody to another episode. Today we're talking a little bit about from, I'd say, graphic design, web design, and agency side, some tips there for those guys in the profession, and then also some tips for on the client side when you're hiring them. I think it's a good discussion for both sides. So the big thing we want to talk about is really making sure we're setting up for success, whether we're being hired or hiring somebody. Maybe we'll take it from the role of the person hiring. So if you have a company and you're trying to grow it, you go out and hire a graphic web designer or an agency.
Yeah.
We'll kind of talk about the steps of maybe where not to make mistakes, where to get things right. Just as us being an agency, what we see works and doesn't work, what we like to see in clients and don't like to see that leads to our success, and also just deal with a lot of projects and different types of people and business owners.
A lot of personalities.
A lot of personalities. We kind of learned, you get a feel after a while of what project's going to be a problem and may not work out so well. In the beginning you can tell just because of our experience. And other ones where you know this is going to be a good project and they're going to be very successful. So the first thing I want to talk about is hiring well and then trusting. So that's probably one of the hardest things is trying to figure out, well, I need to get a website built, let's say in this example. There's probably 20 in the area that do, if you do a Google search for somebody, right? Which is why referrals are always amazing, to at least have some reference point. You've got some experience there. The biggest thing I'd say in that process is really take your time.
Research a lot.
To hire a good one.
Right, definitely.
That's going to just set the whole project up for no matter what you do in life, but I mean really in this, yeah, absolutely. We hear just a lot of nightmares where they go and hire the cheapest guy or sometimes the most expensive one, and they just don't do their due diligence to research that person. Definitely. And then in some cases they'll come to us later on going, oh my goodness, we need you guys to fix this. Then it costs twice as much because you paid for the first guy, now you got to find someone to fix it. So that's the biggest thing. What would you say maybe some tips? Because we research a lot of agencies. We hear when people come in, oh, we're comparing you between agency A and B. Maybe some tips of what you can look at and you know as red flags.
I know definitely, as far as for me, if I would look for an agency or just a graphic designer to hire to create my website, I mean, first things first, I would look at their work.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you can, if they have a portfolio online or you know they have their work that they can showcase, definitely look at that and see how old it is. You know, how many recent clients they have is definitely a big thing, because then you know that they're staying active and they're learning more and new things as the years come by. Because let's be honest, styles for websites change all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
And then definitely. Take a look at their website. How they present themselves is a really big thing, because some people, obviously, they'll spend more time.
Yeah, and something that personally bugs me, I'd say, and we all start out small for the most part, and your goal when you're small is you want to look bigger than you are, like as an agency or designer, right?
Yes.
So the thing that really bugs me a lot, and I'll see in character flaws, is you'll have a 1 or 2 or 3 person shop, and they've got this gorgeous agency photo of like them working, and then you Google search it and it's just a stock image, which I understand you want to look bigger, but right there to me is a flag of they're already kind of in a sense lying to you about how big, how crisp they are, how experienced maybe they are. Mm-hmm. So that to me is kind of a red flag. And not that I want to make this video about how to hire an agency, there's a million of these videos, but at least we want to just kind of hit this point in the beginning. Yeah, build that trust, and in the meetings too when you're talking to them, if there's a lot of like dodging questions or like secret sauce or don't worry about it kind of thing, like that would not trust. I would not trust any designer, whatever that's good what they do. They love to share why they do things. There's sense behind it, and that's kind of, we'll get into deeper stuff here of just explaining why we're doing certain things, and there's a reason behind it, and it's to make you successful. Yeah, there's really no secret sauce. It just comes down to raw talent in the end, right? Of having the skill set to execute it.
A lot of research goes behind, creating websites. So, no secret sauce there.
And that will kind of lead a little bit to other ones is if they're coming to you after like a short discussion or even on first one with a concept ready of like, here's what I'm thinking for you guys, I would say I'd back away.
Yeah.
They're already not defining something for your goal. I mean, it depends on budget, and there's a certain limitation. If you're a couple $100 for a website, then you're probably using a template and it's already ready to go. But if you're a company that's really looking to get the branding right, get your execution, you really want to hit some financial goals and grow and all of that, that's a big red flag. For designers too, one starting out, I know you're excited, you want to get into it and start showing work and what you can do or whatever it is. You'll be much more successful though if you actually take the time to slow it down. And some clients want that. They're like, get us some stuff right away, let's start going, I want to see some visuals, want to choose. Like, no, like what are your goals? Who are you actually targeting? I know you want to look pretty and stuff, but who are we going after here?
Exactly. I mean, you want the designer to be able to absorb exactly what you're looking for to, like, as you're wanting to represent yourself online, because if you just kind of
shoot off your hip in a sense.
Do something like real quick or whip up something really quick, then it's kind of hard for the designer to be able to see, this is how I feel like this company should really represent themselves. Whether you could be a lawyer and you're like, oh, I want fun colors, I want vibrant colors, but sometimes that portrays something different. Like you don't want to be using vibrant like greens or pinks.
You might have a personal preference for something, and you might love that. Your car might be that color, your house might be that color, or whatever, and you want to use it in your branding because your company, you're excited, but it's got to make sense. It's not for you. It's for who's buying or who's whatever it might be, who you're selling to. So we kind of ran into that. So that's our second point: is make sure you're establishing and defining your goals with your designer. And if you're a designer, make sure you're slowing the process down a little bit. I know you want to jump right into design; that's where the fun is. But slow it down and take the time to, establish questions, do your research, come back to the client, and make sure you really define your map. It's really the sense of building a house. You don't just go to Lowe's and get a bunch of lumber and concrete mixer and just start making a house. Like, it's meticulous of having the architect coming in, the engineering coming in, make sure it's all going to work. How are you going to use the house? Do you need 5,000 square feet? Do you need 1,700 square feet? Do you need 6 bathrooms? Do you need a walkout basement when it's not a pitched yard, right? I mean, it's all this stuff. You can't just go at it. And it's going to be a terrible house, and it's not going to fit their needs, and it's going to be way off budget. As a designer, you're probably going to lose on it, or if you're hiring, you're probably going to way overpay for it.
And then for designers, like, in all honesty, don't be afraid to ask questions.
Oh, absolutely.
Because, like, you don't want the client, you don't want to be thinking, oh, the client may think I'm not professional enough, or I don't know what I'm doing. You need to ask these questions, because if you don't, then you're going to be second guessing, or you're going to be like, I don't know if this is something that I should do.
Right.
And I'm 100% sure that the client will definitely appreciate you wanting to know more, because then that means you're putting in more time, putting in more thought in what you're doing, especially for their project. So,
and if the client doesn't appreciate that, it's a really good red flag for a designer knowing this is not going to be a good project, because they're going to just want to, oh, let's just get going, let's do this, why waste our time with this, I already know, and then you're going to design it, and they're like, oh, this is not what I think, and then it's 40 rounds of revisions, and you're just bleeding money and time and all of that.
Lots of time wasted.
So especially if you're still being evaluated a little bit, and you meet with designer A and B, and one's like, okay, what do you guys want to do? Great, I'm ready to get going, here's the price. The other one's like, well, we need to have discussions, let's get deeper into who you're trying to target. You're going to find way more value knowing, like, wow, this is like a serious company that can actually design what we need. They care about who we're going after, not trying to build a site or whatever, get some money and go to the next, or upsell you. You want someone that cares and takes the time to do that.
Definitely.
And then the third point I want to go to is be willing to take risk on both sides of the pendulum, I guess. As an agency designing stuff for clients, we'll do that. We'll do all our research, we'll get a really good understanding of what they need, and we'll do some market research, and then we'll start designing things that might be edgy to some degree, might be just cool different ways of presenting information that you might have not thought before. And I know as someone hiring, you probably already have done some of your own research. You've looked at your main competitors and looked at, oh, this company is doing really good. I want to copy what they're doing because they're obviously successful. But it's kind of like we talk all the time. If what you're doing is just making something and copying what they do, like as a consumer, who are you going to go to? Like the market leader or the tail chaser who's looking just like them but probably is not really executing correctly? You don't want to be a copycat. There's certain things always to learn and take and reiterate and such, but ultimately you want to be your own brand and you want to be something unique that makes you stand out.
Definitely.
You really have to take risks on some things. It seems like a lot of people will just tend to be more conservative, which is fine. And you can't have a site that's just like all over the place and animation stuff and just nonsense for sure. But you have to be just open-minded to do things a little differently. And as a designer presents stuff, of like, oh, like not just immediate reaction of like, I don't like that, it's too much, I was looking for something like this. You know, the designer already did all the work to ask the questions to understand your needs. Now you've hired this professional, you need to trust them of like, okay, this is way different than I'm thinking of. My first thought is, I don't like it because it's really a big change. But then, you know, take a day, take it in, and then sit back to the designer and go, okay, here's what I'm thinking, but like, there's gotta be a reason why you guys did this.
Of course.
And the designer should really be able to explain, here's why we did this, and then take that.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't immediately like, oh, I want to change this, I don't like this, let's try putting this here and this here and this there. It's like, again, now you're the designer, but you're not a designer.
Exactly.
Trust who you've hired, just like your consumers are trusting you to go buy a product that you've made, you've engineered it, otherwise they'd be in their basement trying to like
Figure it
make
out
something,
themselves,
right? No,
right.
they want a pro who made this and knows what they're doing, engineered this thing to do it.
And then, you know, one of the things that designers love to do is research. You know,
Yeah.
we take a look at your competitors, see what they're doing that's, you know, working
and bad,
for them.
yeah.
And, I mean, they're also doing something that's probably not doing
Oh, yeah.
going so well for their websites. So
Sure.
trust your designers to know that they've taken every, you know, effort to take a look at every single competitor that you have, seeing all the good things that they're doing, and then, you know, trying to implement that on your website. Obviously not copying, but
Right.
at the same time.
And it's good too, designers. I mean, yeah, we're constantly looking at, there's inspiration everywhere for everything you do, and whether it's in the industry or outside of it. Maybe as an owner, a lot of times you're probably looking at, I've got X product, I'm looking at competitor A and B, where designers got first all of this experience, and then also way outside the realm of what you're looking at for ideas, and that's again pulling. I mean, it's automotive does it, fashion does it. They pull from other industries, other styles, whatever it is, to make something that's unique and makes them stand out in the marketplace. It's not, otherwise it's all just
Right.
templates everywhere, and they're all kind of the same sort of with different colors. Like that's not going to separate you.
Even though it is something that you want, like, you know, this is what I'm envisioning, this is what I want. In the end, unfortunately, the website is not catered to build for you. You know,
Exactly.
it is for your brand, it is for your company, but you have to think in the end, it's the people who are going to be visiting your website,
Right.
the people who are going to look at what you're selling or what you're promoting out there. If you're going to make it difficult for them to find something by, you know, if you want like pages under pages under pages, you want the experience to be
Yeah.
easy, fast, and like, you know, a happy experience for anybody that comes to visit your website. So bear in mind that your designers have already thought about that they've already thought, okay, this is how it's going to be best for the clients, the visitor, as well as like people who regularly come back to your website.
Yeah.
Don't just think, oh, this is what I want, so this is exactly how I want it to be, and if you're not going to design it that way, then I'm not going to be happy.
Right.
We're thinking of this in 3 points of view: your visitors and obviously your business. So
Absolutely. Yeah, so we'd love to hear feedback from you guys, from designers. Tell us what makes a good client, what makes a bad client. That's really helpful for when you're hiring and you want to make sure you're doing a good job if you're, you know, company owner. Like, well, I don't really know this process, I've not been through it before, I don't have a huge marketing team, or whatever it might be, or we've always done things internally. That's really helpful. So yeah, we'd love to hear from designers, and then also just from business owners that are hiring agencies and designers independently. What are some horror stories, and what are some cool tips you guys have learned to make sure you can get the right one and make sure your project is successful?